Now, what it do? What it do? Happy Saturday. Hope y'all are having a divine morning so far. All right. So today we're gonna talk about manifesting. Okay, we're gonna talk about it from a little bit of a different angle today. So the title of today's discussion is "I got everything I wanted when I stopped giving a fuck." All right. And so I want to relate this to a movie. If you're watching a movie and you get to the end and you understand how the movie is going to end, right? Why would you trip about what happens in the middle of the movie? Okay, once I've seen the movie already, I know that everybody survives, right? The mom and the son and the dad drive off into the sunset together. Then I'm not gonna react as dramatically when I see everything unfolding in the middle. When I see that they get split up. When I see that one looks like they're about to be unalived, right? I'm not going to react as much because I already know how it ends. Once you have your vision or your desire, because God is within you, because you are God, right? You already know how the movie is going to end. This is your covenant. Okay, this is your promised land. Your desire is your promised land. And now you're walking on the path to get there. And we can push the time of our desires out by caring too much, by trying to predict exactly what day it's going to arrive, predicting how it's going to arrive. But you could never predict these things. When we look back on our life, we'll see that there's never really a time where you make a plan and everything goes exactly as planned. This isn't even how the Most High works. It's not how the universe works. Whatever you can imagine, you always get better. This is why you can think of the worst case scenario of something unfolding in your life. It'll never be as bad as you can imagine it. It'll always be better. You can think of the best case scenario of something happening in your life. It will never just be that. It will always be better, right? And it doesn't matter how much time you actually spend on a plan. You could spend days, weeks, months trying to decide or design the perfect plan. But as soon as you begin to walk down that journey, everything changes. Things shift. Doors close. People show up in your life that have to help you. People show up in your life that you need to help. You're pushed in all these different directions because your journey has to intertwine with all these other people's journeys. Okay? So when we get too caught up in how things are going to unfold, when we get too caught up in when they are going to unfold, this is when we lose our divine power. We begin to cling and attach to the conditions, to the circumstances. We begin to look out in our life and judge. Why is this happening? When all of it is just unfolding for you. All of it is unfolding for you, right? But when we cling too much, it's easy to get lost in this illusion of a world and say, man, this is not right, or this is right. This situation makes you happy. This situation makes you sad. Right? These are all byproducts of clinging. So today we want to talk about how to actually let go. What does it mean? It doesn't mean letting go of our desire. It means just letting go of how we get there. Because if you understand that your thoughts, that your desires are sacred and holy, then you should really not give a damn how they unfold. And that not giving a damn makes you magnetic. And let's think about this in multiple dimensions, right? When we think of relationships, right, so a lot of men are like, okay, well, women seem to be more attracted to me when I don't give a damn. It's not that they're more attracted to you for not giving a damn. It's that you actually have an abundance mindset in one circumstance and you don't in the other. When you are too invested on, I need this woman to like me, your energy becomes repulsive. When you're too obsessed with, I need things to unfold this way, your energy becomes repulsive, right? But when you go into this situation thinking, I want to see let me see if I even like her. Yeah, she looks good, but let me see if I actually like her, right? This is a much more magnetic mindset because you are stepping into more abundance this way, right? So it's always about an abundance mindset. It's not about just not giving a damn, right? We want to still care about our desire. But the part that I don't give a damn about is how it unfolds. I enjoy where I'm at right now, knowing that where I'm at is just as an important part of the journey as me getting there. It's all unfolding for me. And when I'm in this inner knowing, I just enjoy life. I roll with the punches. I flow downstream with the tide, right? But when I'm trying to cling, when I'm trying to judge things, this is not going right. This is going right. It's like I'm trying to swim upstream when your desire is downstream. And so everything in your life is trying to push you down though. And it's trying to allow you to flow with it. When you're trying to fight against the stream, this is when things tend to get hectic. We get tired. And usually what happens is you hit a quote unquote rock bottom that actually forces you to surrender anyway. Right? People go through this journey and they're trying to manifest things, trying to get things to come in their life, and they're trying to swim upstream. You're caring too much about the situation. This doesn't look right, so I have to work harder. This looks right, so now I'm happy. And they're swimming and swimming upstream, so finally they just get tired. And they hit that quote unquote rock bottom. And when they hit that rock bottom, they have no choice from this point to surrender. And what happens is all of a sudden it's like, well, when I was at rock bottom, everything worked out. Why is that? Because you finally surrendered to the flow, to how the divine was trying to orchestrate your life in the first place. Right? There is nothing to do. There's always something to do, but there's really nothing to do. It's all divine timing because you're divine. All of it. Right? And so the more that you can release and you can let go and you can stop clinging to how things unfold, and you can realize that where you are right now is perfect in the grand scheme of things, when you can bless it as perfect, you can accept it as perfect, you cannot suppress or ignore any emotion. Whatever happens to me, however I feel, is perfect right now. And I know that it's all part of the perfect unfolding, getting me to my promised land, getting me to my desire, my sacred desire, right? Now you actually become the co-creator in your life. Right? Think about it. If you keep the same mentality that you've always had, you'll continue to get the same things. That old mentality is a mentality of clinging. It's a mentality of judging things. It's a mentality of looking out and saying, oh, this is wrong or this is right. How do you know that? You don't know what wrong or right is. This is why we sit down at the end of our relationships and we're crying. Please bring them back. Then 2 years later, you've went on your little journey, you've gotten better, right? And now you meet somebody else and you're laid up with them thinking, thank God I went through this past situation because now I'm more equipped for you. You don't even know what's supposed to happen in your life. There is no such thing in history as a perfect plan. No one's ever made one. The more you try to plan things, the more things go wrong. I'm not saying don't plan at all, but your plan is just a vehicle for the universe to do its will, for the Most High to flow through you. That's it, right? Your plan does not mean anything to infinite consciousness. It's basically just a signal that you're willing to work and willing to do something. That's it. But if you think through history, you think of a game plan in sports. You think of war plans. You think of plans of politicians. I don't care what plan you list. You go to a corporate job and y'all make a project plan to do some shit. You're trying to plan an event and you make a plan. You're trying to plan how you're going to get through college, how you're going to pay these bills. You make a plan. It never goes as planned. It never does. Because your plan can only take into account what you know right now. You don't know what people you need to meet. You don't know what people have to tell you no. But the moment that you have a desire, the entire world will turn to you and say, we will be exactly what you need us to be to get you to where you want. And sometimes it does not look happy and fun, but it's still perfect. And you can still bless it as such. The humanity of me does not see this situation as ideal, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be perfect. That's it. You shall decree a thing and it shall be. This is said in scripture. Thou shalt decree. You shall decree a thing and it shall be. Decree means to speak as a legal authority. You have legal authority over your life. When you say this is divine timing, you want to know why that's divine timing? Because you say so. Because the divine is within you. When you say that it's all in alignment, it worked out perfectly, it's true because you have dominion to say that. Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatever you shall say in the Father's name shall be given to you. Shall be given to you. Right? Whatever you say. Until now, you have asked nothing. Right? So the moment that I step into the present moment and I realize this is all unfolding perfectly, I already have what I desire. So I really don't give a damn how it looks. I know that if you tell me no, you had no choice. Thank you. I know that if you cheat on me, you had no choice. You need me to get somebody better. Right? I'm not going to mess with you anymore. I'm not going to deal with you anymore, but it's not personal. It's all divine. It's all divine. Right? Every moment is divine, right? Step into that divine version of you that looks out and realizes that you are the creator, that you've been creating everything this whole time, right? Let's go. Stop giving a damn, right? You've seen the end of the movie. The moment you had that desire, you said, oh shit, I want that. You've seen the end of the movie. And now everything is just leading you there. It's just the plot, and you have plot armor. You had that divine plot armor, right? You can't lose. The only way that you can lose is if you start going off script and you start saying things are negative. You start using your power against yourself. And you start saying, oh, it's just not working out. Well, damn, now it's not. But you can change it like this. Okay, this is the metaphor of Peter walking on water, right? Start walking on water to Jesus, who represents your I am awareness, or Yahshua, whatever you want to call him, right? Whatever you believe. We're going to look at this in a metaphorical sense. Peter starts walking on water, and then what happens the moment he takes his eye off of his I am awareness, off of Jesus? He starts drowning. He starts sinking. And then Jesus extends his arm, pulls him up out the water. He starts walking on water again. All this represents is, yeah, you can fall off the path 100, 1,000 times. You can fall off the path right now, but you can get right back on right now. And you'll still be just as far. You'll be just as far. Right? This is your power. You shall declare a thing, and it is. And it is. It is. Right? It is. Okay? So the power of emotional detachment and not giving a damn. All right. So the tighter you cling, the more life slips through your fingers. And of course, this document is going to be on YouTube. All right, so you can always check it out. I never delete any of the lives. You can always jump on YouTube. You can get whatever lectures I've done. All right. So the tighter you cling, the more life slips through your fingers. Power doesn't beg. Peace doesn't chase. And freedom begins when you finally stop giving a fuck about the wrong things. OK, so the cage of clinging and how attachment breeds suffering. OK, attachment is fear in disguise, fear of loss, rejection, failure. You know what I'm saying? The story I gave, right? I went to this R&B night out in Dallas like 2 nights ago, right? And the difference between who I am now and who I used to be years ago is completely different. Right? The difference is incredible, right? But one thing that you will constantly notice about yourself is the more that I am attached to being, the more that I fear rejection, right? The more fearful I'm going to be of approaching anyone, right? The more that I fear losing something, the more that I'm going to cling on to it, right? The less confident I am that everything is working out for me, the easier it's going to be for me to try to grab something, for me to try to, I have to control this outcome. All right. But when I understand that if I approach someone, I'm trying to figure out if I like them just as much as I'm trying to figure out if they like me. All right. This is all just part of the game. And sometimes you're in alignment, sometimes you're not. Right? But then you move forward, you do it again, and you meet someone that's better for you. Right? But all of this clinging and saying, it has to go this way. What if they reject me? Well, if they do reject you, you only had a 50-50 chance anyway, right? They're going to say yes or no. That's it. They're going to say yes or no, right? And then the greater thought is that, okay, well, they're going to say yes or no, but what does that really mean? That means, are they actually right for my story moving forward or not? And if they're not, then I should have no problem just saying, okay, cool, I'm going to move away. Okay. I have no attachment to, I could think you're beautiful. I still think you're beautiful. Even if you don't want to talk to me, you're still beautiful. You're still a goddess. All right. However, I also want what's in alignment with me. And I understand that if I approach you and we start talking, I realize I don't really like you like that, I can walk away. And if you realize you don't really like me like that, you can walk away. No harm, no foul, right? We just not in alignment. Okay? We just not in alignment. Let me put these comments up, man. I'm bad. My bad. I ain't trying to ignore y'all. I'm like 6. I'm 6'3", man. Exactly. Everybody isn't meant to be a character in the movie. 100%. Everybody is not meant to be a character in your movie. And that is the divinity of this, right? People only show up in your life for one of, I typically say 3 reasons. Okay. Number 1 is they are in alignment. Perfect. It's working out. Number 2, they're not in alignment. If they're not in alignment, well, shoot, then I just have an opportunity to say, no, I don't want this. I'm going to go a different way. Or number 3, it's a lesson. It's an opportunity to expand. It's a consciousness expanding opportunity, right? So you meet this person and it might look good. They do everything you like. They say everything that you like, right? It feels real good. But then you find out we're on a different playing field when it comes to morality, right? We're not quite in alignment with certain things. And this is my opportunity to walk away. Or they might walk away. They might just pull away. And then I have to be objective. I have to be very, very accountable and say, what if this was God in disguise, what are they trying to teach me? How do I need to grow? And if you don't understand that lesson, if you don't look at this other person as the Most High, if you think that, somehow life is coincidental and life is not purposeful, all right, then you could just easily say, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, right? Whatever you think. But typically when people believe that, they start going through the same thing over and over and over again, because since they don't learn the lesson, they can't raise their frequency and they can't meet better people. So they're constantly on the same playing field, right? It's like they're on the same level of the game. So all the characters around them are the same. They keep meeting the same final boss over and over again and losing, because the name of the game is learning, right? But as soon as you learn and you embody, you move up to the next level, you get new characters. You'll still have the same characters in this new level, but they're easier to beat now. It's easier for you to spot them because you've embodied the lesson, right? And now you can actually move on to greater things, right? The people that were your final boss, the people that you were attracting and you couldn't get over, and the same type of people, right? They become the people that are easier to beat in the next level. Now you can easily spot these people. Now you can avoid these people. Right? This is how the game works. This is how life works. Life is just a game. Okay? So the moment you need something, approval, love, or status, you place your freedom in someone else's hands. The moment that I need something, I'm outsourcing my power. Okay? The story of the Pool of Bethesda that I always talk about is that there's this crippled man at the Pool of Bethesda. And all of these people gathered there, and they thought that at a certain time of the day, there was an angel that came into the water, stirred the water, and the first person to get into the water would be healed. Okay? And so then Jesus, Yahshua, representing your I am awareness, says to this gentleman, do you even want to be healed? And this man has all kinds of excuses, right? Of course I want to be healed, but the angel only comes at a certain time of the day, and then I have no one to carry me there. And then even when I do, someone else always gets there before me. And like I say, you can replace this with whatever. I want you to really think about this from the perspective of Jesus being your I am awareness, being your mind, trying to tell you how to think to change your life. Right? Because right now this man is in victim mind. He's in victim mode. Yeah, of course I want to be healed, but no one can take me there. Now replace healed with whatever. Do you want to be prosperous? Of course I want to be prosperous, but I have no one to give me a job. Everybody else keeps getting all the jobs. Right? These rich people just keep taking all the money. Do you want to be loved? Of course I want to be loved, but I have nobody to give me love. I have nobody and then everybody else keeps taking all the good people. Right? I was just born in the wrong generation. Right? For sure. Arguing for his limitations. Right? Go ahead, you can do that. You can always argue for your limitations, but I will not join you in that party. Right? So we can actually use this story as something to represent something that we all go through, right? Do you want prosperity? Then pick up your prosperity and walk with it. understanding that that desire is holy, that desire is sacred. And because I have that desire, now I have a promised land in my mind. And all I have to do is walk through the wilderness to get to that promised land. And the wilderness sometimes looks shitty. It sometimes looks chaotic, but it's still all divine. It's still all perfect. So I bless things as perfect because it's my blessing. It's my decreeing of what the situation is that makes it what it is. It's me saying, oh, this is divine timing. It's all working out. This is perfect. I'm enjoying where I'm at right now. That is what makes a situation perfect. And it makes it the perfect stepping stone for me to get to where I want. Right? You have this divine power within you. You are the infinite being who just so happens to be in this flesh suit and has forgotten their abilities. But the more that you awaken this, the more that you start to step into this divinity, the more you start to say, bro, I don't really give a damn about what everything looks like. This is all a byproduct of my past. And it's all just a perfect stepping stone to where I'm headed. The moment you start doing this and your life starts to change, you start to truly treat life like a game. You start to truly go through life and people can tell you whatever. People can tell you that your plans will not work. And I'll tell you, one of the more bold things that even I think these days is you wouldn't even exist in this reality if it wasn't for me. You wouldn't even exist in my reality if it wasn't for me. Who are you to tell me how things are going to unfold for me? Who is anyone to tell you how things are going to unfold for you? You are all that is in your reality. I am all that is in my reality. Your reality is what you make it. Everything in your life is a byproduct of your current thoughts or your past thoughts. But you can change them like this right now by stepping into the more divine version of yourself, blessing everything as perfect because it is, because you are perfect. Blessing everything as perfect because it is, because you are perfect, because the divine is within you. You are the temple. And with the temple, you have authority over everything in your life. Everything that you see, you have authority over it. You can speak life into any situation. You can speak meaning into the situation. Here is another gem. Nothing in your life has any meaning except for the meaning that you give it. Everything in your life is inherently, is meaningless. It means nothing until you give it meaning. So you can say this is perfect, or you can say this is shitty. I want y'all to truly think about this, right? The creator doesn't think in terms of right and wrong, good or bad. This is a human construct. As humans, we like to look at the world and judge and say, oh, this is bad, this is good. We love to do this, right? But because everything represents everything, right? Life is multidimensional. You understand one thing, you understand a lot of things. If you want to know about anything, if you want to know about everything, study anything, okay? If you look at your body on a cellular level right now, right? It's chaos. It is chaos. Cells are killing each other. You got viruses being fought off. You got all kinds of things going on in your body, right? But you zoom out and all of a sudden it looks harmonious. You're this divine being, right? This divine chocolate goddess, right? You look beautiful, okay? But on a cellular level, it looks chaotic, right? This is the same with the world. If you think about certain people that have purposes in this third dimensional reality, there are certain souls that might have more polarizing purposes, right? So every once in a while, we have a figure that comes into humanity that is polarizing, and he makes you choose a side, or she makes you choose a side. So this is what I believe. This is how it is. Choose a side. And people agree or don't. But what happens is with this polarity, with this polarizing figure, all of a sudden we have conversations that humanity is pushed forward. Now, is it right or wrong? The same example is, you go through that heartbreak. And in the moment when you're going through it, you say that it's wrong and it's bad. But then you learn lessons and you meet up with that divine counterpart, that quote unquote soulmate, that twin flame. You love them so much, you say, thank God that everything went the way it did, because I wouldn't have been with you. I wouldn't have even been the right person for you. Was that truly good or bad? Does it even matter? It didn't change. The situation didn't change. Your perspective on it changed. Okay? A natural disaster comes through and wipes out a piece of land, right? People, there's lost lives of people there, okay? Wildlife, nature is ruined for a little bit, okay? And we will call this an act of God. Now, do you say that, God is bad because of this? No. Nature comes back stronger. The animals come back with more survival instincts. Humanity rebuilds. Certain souls have checked out because their mission was done. And they decide, okay, this is how we're gonna go. But you don't call the creator bad. There is no good or bad. The only good or bad when it comes to your life is that you have this desire in your mind. And you have this holy, sacred desire. I'm going to get here. You have your promised land. And now, because you have this promised land, you start walking the path to get there. You already have it, but you have to walk through time in this reality. All right. But you start walking through it and you know that you want this divine counterpart. But then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Miss Cirque du Soleil in the bedroom, she shows up to you. Now you have a choice to make. Do I want to stay on the path to my desires or do I want to veer off? Okay. And so now when what we call sin, right, it's really when you're just off the mark, when you're missing the mark to your actual desire, because we all know what to do. Common example I give, we all know what to do. If you want to make more money, you know exactly what you need to do right now to make more money. Even if what you need to do is research how to make more money, you know what to do. And so when you're not doing what you think you should be doing right now, you are missing the mark. You are sinning. And what that does is you don't even feel good. You get that burning feeling in your stomach, in the pit of your stomach, especially when things unfold to where now you've missed your desire because you've taken all these wrong actions and you look back with regret. And you have that burning in the pit of your stomach, the fire in the pit of your stomach. And what does this represent? This represents hell. That burning feeling. You are burning in hell right now because of your regrets. This is the life that you do not want to live. So we all know the path. And as long as we are walking on that path, as long as we are walking that righteous path, means we are in alignment with our desires and we're doing what we think is right now, you are on the path to heaven. You are on the path to the promised land. All right? You are on the path to the promised land. You for sure, you know exactly when something is from the pits, for sure. All right. So Buddha said attachment is the root of suffering, and yet we cling to people, outcomes, and identities. Nothing in this life is going to be permanent except for your own mind. Nothing. Even if you find this divine person and y'all meet, y'all get married, that won't even last forever. One of you will pass on before the other. It might break down later on, right? But it won't last forever. The only thing that lasts forever is going to be you. It is you. All right. So when your self-worth is outsourced, you become a slave to validation. Whenever I need something to go a certain way, I need this job to make me feel prosperous. I need this person to like me so I can feel loved. Whenever I start needing other people, I'm just giving them my power. Here, take a piece of my power. And now you can control me. All right. God forbid this woman doesn't like me. Now should I feel a little bit less than myself? Right? God forbid this job tells me no, or they fire me. All of a sudden, damn, I feel a little less than myself now. Right? So the example, the man constantly chasing love loses himself. He becomes what they want, not who he is. And that self-betrayal cost him his peace. Okay? The man/woman constantly chasing love loses themselves. They become what the other person wants and not who they are. What happens if you just love, I just love this woman so much and I'm just going to be everything that she wants me to be and I'm going to abandon myself? What actually happens is that you're not walking in your authenticity. You can't even, if you were truly walking in your authenticity, then you could match with someone who was right for you. But the moment you try to start molding yourself to what somebody else wants and needs, it's not even going to work out because you can't even hold up that act long enough. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be people, there won't be that divine person that comes in your life that doesn't inspire you to see God within you and inspire you to do better. What I'm saying is you go into this situation and you're not an outside person, she is, so all of a sudden you're trying to change your whole personality. You're not meeting halfway. You are trying to completely mold and change yourself into somebody that you are not. This is destined to fail. This is destined to fail because that's not even who you are. This is not who you are, right? And so you can only put on this mask for so long. This is actually a common issue that I see a lot, especially like in my coaching, right? Is when we meet people. All right. Let me figure out how to frame this one. All right. So when we meet people and we figure out that that's a little too off subject. All right. So the next part, 0 fucks and infinite peace. All right. Emotional sovereignty. Okay. So 0 fucks isn't apathy. It's alignment. It means choosing what matters instead of reacting to everything. Choosing what matters instead of reacting to everything. When you care about everything, you stand for nothing. All right. So emotional sovereignty is more so I don't chase, I attract, right? I don't beg, I just become, right? I become the person that is in alignment with the things that I want. Now, if I want this divine counterpart, I like to use relationships. I like to talk about relationships because it's something that a lot of people can relate to. And like I always say, man, if you want to know about everything, just study anything. Right, because everything relates to everything. So if I want this divine relationship, I need to really understand what I'm looking for. Right. I have to understand, I have to see where are my wounds leading me and where am I being led by wholeness. And one of the first very important questions that I ask people when they want relationships, I'll say, why do you want a relationship? Why do you really think that you need a relationship? Well, no one's supposed to be alone. Why do you believe that? Do you believe that because you truly feel that way, or do you believe that because you were told that? Oftentimes we'll hear these conflicting messages. You were born with everything that you need. You're whole by yourself, but no one's meant to be alone. Which one is true? Can those two truths coexist? I'm not saying that they cannot. I'm saying that we have to have a well-defined thought process. We have to have a well-defined target for what we want. And we have to understand, am I just doing this because other people say that that's how it's supposed to be done? Or am I doing this because it's something that I genuinely want? Okay. Now, if it's something that I genuinely want, why do I want it? Do I truly want somebody to complete me? So what about you is lacking without another person? What would that person bring to you that you cannot bring to yourself? Because if you can't bring it to yourself, you're just going to attract people that just show you your deficiencies. They're going to continue to mirror the void back to you so you can work to fill that void within yourself until you can get the right person. So we need to really understand what it is that you're chasing out there that you can't get from within you. Okay. And now once you realize, okay, well, you know, the intimacy and the love, one of the very, very important lessons that most people get to is that the intimacy that you're really looking for outside of you is truly just intimacy that your soul wants with yourself. Your soul comes through a very traumatic experience when it comes down here. Okay, your soul descends from the heavens, descends from union with the Creator. And in this descending into this third dimensional reality, you are placed in this suit, right? You get flesh and bones and blood and all this, and you're wrapped in the time. And this is a traumatic experience. So you go from a place where all time exists right now, all things exist right now. The moment that you pass, the moment that you're born exists in this present moment. And when you descend here now, because you have to go through time in a linear way, right? If I want to go to the gas station, it takes me 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. If I want to get a degree, it takes me X amount of time. Because I have to go through time this way. And everything doesn't just exist together, right? Now I'm introduced to concepts. So what are some of these concepts? Well, If everything exists right now, but I come down here and I have to go through time to get it, now I'm introduced to longing for something, craving something, right? If someone passes away, I'm introduced to loss, to mourning. These are concepts that are not foreign. These are concepts that are foreign to your soul. So you come into matter and you're introduced to this very traumatic environment, right? And then you completely forget, okay? So we'll also see that as your soul is descending and is trying to get used to things, even as children, we don't have memories. You don't remember coming out the womb. Most people don't. You don't remember when you were 1, 2, 5. Typically, your memories start a little later on, 8, 9, 10, right? And what do parents say? They say, oh man, my kid was so cooperative. He just loved me and he gave me all the affection. But all of a sudden, he changed. All of a sudden, he wants freedom now. Because that soul is like, damn, all this programming, what's real, what isn't. So this is a very traumatic experience. And so you have a longing of union with something. Because your soul was used to being in connection, just one with the Most High. You still are, but you've forgotten. And so you have this deep craving. How this typically plays out is it plays out in the jobs we choose, but it especially plays out in relationships. So I like to constantly remind people, you're not looking for someone to complete you. You're looking for someone to see the God within you. You're an infinitely expanding being. You can never be complete. Someone cannot walk in your life and make you whole. You're just whole because you are, but you're always expanding. You want someone to remind you that you are God. And you want someone that you can remind that they are God. And what this also requires is them holding you accountable. They're going to put up this divine mirror and say, I'm not going to allow you to step as anything less than divine with me, with anybody. And this is where you're falling short. This is where you need to grow. This is where you can expand. This is where you're slacking. This is what you truly want. This isn't completeness. You can never, no one could ever come into your life and complete you. No one. To be completely honest, you have masculine and feminine within you already. We all do. All right. And so you really don't need anyone for completion. Okay, this is a fallacy. This is a lie. You really don't need anyone, but it does help to have someone that does see God within you. All right. This is your longing, but this craving is deeper than just that person. Because if you find this divine counterpart, you don't even think about life in terms, you don't even think linear anymore when it comes to your life. You find this divine person, you're not going to say, I will love you until I die. You're going to say, man, I'll love you forever, infinitely. I'll love you beyond this lifetime. Whatever happens next, I will love you through heaven if that exists. I will love you through a reincarnation if that exists. I will love you through hell if we have to do that, because that's how much I love you. Your soul doesn't even understand the boundaries of time. Your love is infinite. Your love is in alignment with the God within you. It's infinite. It knows no concept of time. It knows no concept of loss. You can't even understand that. You cannot sit here and logically explain just loving someone until you die. You don't even remember what happens after you die. But the thought of stopping loving someone after you die, it's inconceivable to you, because this is your divinity. This is how powerful you are. This is how infinite you are. Right? You can have whatever you can imagine. Anything that you can imagine, you can receive. The only thing you could never imagine is not existing. Because your soul is infinite. It cannot imagine that. You find that divine person and you look at them and you know, shit, time couldn't stop me from loving you. Nothing could stop me from loving you. I will love you infinitely. I will find you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. No matter what it takes. You already know. In your mind, when you find that person, the concept of forgetting when you reincarnate, you're like, what? Forgetting? Hell no. I will remember this. I will remember this. This is how expansive your love is. Okay? And now, once you actually do forget, you do the whole thing again. But this is how powerful you are. This is what your soul craves. Your soul craves union with the Most High. But this starts with you. It starts with you understanding that the love and the intimacy and the craving that I have for somebody outside of me is really just me craving intimacy with myself, with the God within me. So I always recommend 2 exercises, especially after heartbreak. Okay. The number 1 exercise is the mirror exercise. It's actually looking at yourself in the mirror. You can write a note, you can freestyle, but look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I know that we've been through a lot. This is how I'm going to support you. This is how I'm going to grieve you. I've been with you in the situations where we had no one. In the situations where no one saw me. In the situations where I was crying alone and I put on that mask to go out in public. That person broke me down. That situation was breaking me down. I walked out in public and nobody understood my pain. I saw your pain and I will be here with you. And I see you and I love you. Okay? And I will give you whatever time you need to grieve. And I will make sure that we don't go through this again. We are going to get wisdom from this. And we're going to walk as a more divine version of ourselves. But you will never have to go through a situation alone again because I am here. This is the very conversation you would want you are fiending for someone else to have with you. But you haven't even had it with yourself. You are fiending, you are craving someone to see you, someone to see the God within you. But you're the only person that goes through life with you. You're the only person who knows your thoughts. You're the only person who has been there in certain situations with you. It was just you. It was just you crying. It was just you who couldn't sleep. It was just you who was pretending to be okay when you were around your friends, when you were around your family. It was just you. When are you going to give yourself the intimacy that you need? What you'll realize when you start doing this, the intimacy you've been desiring from everyone else is truly just the intimacy that you've wanted from yourself. You have wanted yourself so badly. You have wanted yourself to give you this intimacy. Okay, a lot of times your heart breaks, you're lost. We think that, oh man, this time I just need a hug, and we mistakenly think that we need to go find intimacy with another person when it's really ourselves. You're being called back to yourself by your soul. Your soul has set up these checkpoints. How I explain it, right, is that before your soul comes down here, it decides what you need to experience to wake up. And it puts these fires in front of you, these checkpoints. So you go through these fires and it burns off old versions of you, old programming. Okay. And then you sit in that solitude after you go through that fire and you mourn that old version of you. Because that old version of you might have been attached to a relationship. You're with this woman. She has no choice but to break you down because this is your soul's path. She can't be with you. She cannot be with you, right? So you go through the fire of the heartbreak and then you're in the solitude for 6 months. Let's say 9 months, right? You're in this 9-month healing process where you're shedding this old version of you. It's dying. But this 9 months, you're in the womb of your new life, of this new version of you. And it's formulating. And then you are stepping into the world as this new version of you. And you do this over and over and over again through your life. And then you pass away, you come back and you do it again. Right? The physical birth is just one birth. But every time you lose a job, there's a version of you that thought you were going to be at that job longer. You get a new job, there was a version of you that thought you were going to be at the old job. A new version of you is born with a new job. A new version of you is born with a new opportunity. You meet a new friend, a new version of you is born. You lose a relationship, a new version of you dies, or an old version of you dies. Okay, this is a mourning. You go through these fires and you are mourning yourself and being reborn constantly over and over and over and over again because your soul is trying to remember. It's trying to get you to remember who you are. The highest level of self-actualization is that I am God. Is that you cannot separate me from God. Right? It is that anyone else can argue for their limitation, but I don't really want to partake in that. This is the highest level of self-actualization. And your soul sets up these checkpoints so you can get there. Right? This is more than, you lose a spouse, you lose a pardon, you lose a child, a parent or whatever, there is a version of you attached to their memory, right, that dies. And then you take the lessons, you embody the lessons, they become part of you, and then you walk through life as a more brighter, more brilliant, more divine person, because you had to sit in this womb of rebirth. The story of the phoenix, right? This beautiful bird, it sets its nest, it goes in the nest, it sets it on fire, and because it knows it has to die, it has to kill itself to be reborn new, to be reborn more brilliant. This is the life cycle of you. We see this when we look out at nature. Everything is telling you about everything. Life is multidimensional. Everything is a metaphor for everything. What happens in nature? You have time for planting. You have time for reaping the harvest. You have times for mourning. You have times when things are dying. You have times for mourning. Right? Nature cries as well. It rains. The leaves are knocked off the trees, right? The life of the forest looks like it's just being stripped away. But it's just in that process. It's in this divine life cycle. And as humans, we go through that divine life cycle as well, all the time. But everything is a reminder of everything. You are the seed in nature that is planted in that soil, in the darkness. You can't see where you're going. You're just working. You have these desires, right? But in that darkness, you also get clarity. You get clarity on everything. Heartbreak brings you clarity. We tend to think that our path is, our desire is here and we're climbing a little bit and we're getting knocked down and climbing a little bit and getting knocked down. No. Your path is linear. It is linear, right? People will say it's not linear, but it is linear. Whether you are going up or you are going down, you are still walking towards the path. You're always going towards the path. Whether you think that the situation is good, bad, whatever, it's always divine. And you can bless it as so. But whatever the situation looks like, you're always getting closer to your promised land. Always. Okay? So, he who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is mighty, right? Lao Tzu. Okay, so practical wisdom. Number one, learn the art of pause. Not every emotion requires expression. The only thing that we really are called to do in this life is control our perspective, our perception, how we look at everything. So every emotion doesn't require a reaction, but no emotion requires suppression. Your emotions, right? They're just giving you information. It's just energy. This is just God in motion within you. This is just energy. It can't be created, can't be destroyed. It can only flow. It can be transmuted. You can point it to what you want. Okay? But the next time you are in difficult situations, you find that fire being built up within you because it's an unfavorable situation. It's invoking emotions. You don't have to look around and say, this is bad. Right? Just acknowledge what it is, right? This is a situation that I don't see as favorable right now, but it must be leading me to where I need to go because the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be perfect. The situation might not look ideal, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be perfect. And then I move forward and I give myself the grace to feel what I feel and throw a temper tantrum. But on the bottom, in the depths of my soul, I have the inner knowing of what everything is. Everything is divine. It's all for me. It's all working out for me. I already know that. It's a fact. I know for a fact everything is working out for me. Right? So learn the art of the pause. Learn to say that's not mine to carry. Which things can you actually control and which can't you? If you really start studying your life, you'll realize most things that you see are out of your control. Most things that you see are completely out of your control. The only thing that you control is your perception. You can't control if that woman's going to wake up, buy you, and love you still today. You can't control that job is just going to fire you today for no reason. Stocks dropped. We got to do layoffs. You're the first one out. Sorry. We ain't got enough money for a severance. You have no control. But what you can control is your perspective. This is the beautiful thing. Sometimes, because of how stubborn we are as people, we need people to slap us over our head to get us to move to where we need to go. You start this business. You've been bullshitting on it. You needed your job to fire you so you can finally mourn for a little bit, cry for a little bit, and then focus in on your business because the quote unquote economy is bad and nobody's hiring. And then all of a sudden, your prosperity and your salvation comes through that damn business. So what part of this was bad? What part of this was bad? Sometimes to get to that right person, you need to learn a lesson because you're not good at handling your emotions. Because you lack the skills, the true skills to develop true intimacy. And so you find somebody, they love bomb you a little bit, y'all fall off, they just fucking have to leave you. And now it forces you to do all this work. And you do all this work and now, you can meet the right person. Some of you some of you should be so grateful that quote unquote things that are unideal happen in your life. Because these are the very moments that baptize you, that allow you to be reborn into a new version of yourself. You don't need to be dipped in the water to change, to be saved. Sometimes, God damn, I was just laying on that fucking horn. It's like he fell asleep on the wheel and his head hit that shit. But some of you should be very, very grateful that things happen in your life because those are the things that push you into this new divine version of you. That's the confirmation. I'll take that. I shall take that. Okay. So part 3, from attachment to authority. So stop needing and start leading. Okay. Leaders aren't led by desperation. They don't need the room to like them. They command it by being whole. Needing is energetic poverty. Say that one more time. Let me highlight this in bold. Okay. Needing is energetic poverty. Authority is energetic abundance. I should have put that Job. Let me put that in here. Job 22, I believe it's 28. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be done unto thee. Something like that. Right? Authority is energetic abundance. You are given authority. You are given dominion over everything. You are given dominion. You weren't given dominion over some things. They didn't say, okay, well, you get a little dominion over this, but when it comes to your money, nah. Right? You are given authority. Needing is energetic poverty. Authority is energetic abundance. The moment that you say this is divine timing, it is. The moment that you walk and you say, I have to be worthy for what I am. I have to be worthy for what I want to get the things that I want. I know that worthiness is a byproduct of me being born because I am the temple of God, because God is within me. Because the divine flows through me. That's it. So worthiness is not a feeling. Worthiness is not some thought. Worthiness is just a knowing. God is within me. I am worthy. Point blank, period. I am in alignment for what I want. Everything is perfectly unfolding and leading me there. I walk with that knowing. I let my nuts hang in that knowing. Right? There's nothing that you can tell me to throw me off of that knowing. This is what we have to develop a backbone, a spiritual backbone when it comes to decreeing who you are. When it comes to speaking who you are. You have to have a backbone when it comes to this, man. Look, this is who I am. This situation is unfolding perfectly. It doesn't matter what my feelings are, right? What I decree is what matters. And then you walk as such and you allow life to unfold around you, okay? When you lead from fullness, not lack, you become magnetic, all right? So seek first the kingdom within, and all else shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. So we shift the mindset from I need their validation to I validate myself. From I hope it works to I am the one who makes it work. You completely shift your mindset, right? I don't hope it works. I give it no choice but to work. It has no choice. I don't hope anything works. I know it will work because I am the one that makes it work. It is me looking at the situation as perfect. It is me pointing my heart to whatever situation. I point my heart at my bank account, doesn't matter what it looks like, and I say it's perfect right now, and it is all unfolding divinely for your boy, for me. It's all unfolding perfectly. Point your heart, point your love, point your consciousness, the seed of your soul, your heart, right? Point this at whatever situation that you want to change in your life, declare it perfect, and then walk as if it is perfect. Every moment is the perfect unfolding of this item. I already have it. It already exists. There's a version of me that has it. And that version of me is just me. It's just he's just sitting in a different reality. And every step I take is matching that reality with mine until it overlaps and boom, I will have that thing. You can't tell me who I am. No one can tell me. No one can tell you who you are, but you. You are what you have. You are a representation of your faith. What you believe is who you are. Your faith determines who you are. If you have faith that it's not working out, it's not. If you have faith that it is, it is. You are your faith. Your faith is you. Right? Why point your faith at shit you don't want? Why? Okay. Common example, right? Or the example that I always give. I don't know if it's a common example. Nothing ever works out worse than you expected. It always works out better. If you think of the worst case scenario, if you're sitting here and you are using your mind to be delusionally negative, to fantasize about how things can go wrong, guess what? It's always better. It never happens as bad as you think it is, because whatever you can imagine is just the floor of what your consciousness wants to create. You think of this little situation in your mind of me being like this or this happening, and your mind just builds all of these beautiful, more divine things on top of your reality to show you, to give you proof that, look, your thoughts create things, but I just use what you want as a template. I just use your dominant thought as a template, and we build on top of it. Your faith is the architecture on which the framework of the Most High is built in your life. That's it. So if you think of the worst case scenario, it's never the worst, because your consciousness just builds something better on top of it. If you think of the best case scenario you can imagine, it's never even that. It's always better. So your soul doesn't understand the concept of bare minimum. The universe doesn't understand the concept of bare minimum. Look at what you live in. There's no bare minimum about it. This is a highly advanced structural 3D projection around you. It looks so real, right? You don't work. Your consciousness does not understand bare minimum. So why would you waste your time pointing your consciousness at bare minimum? Code. All right, part 4, don't chase, don't beg, don't break the detachment that heals. Okay, when you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop begging, you start becoming. And when you stop breaking, you start building. This just all goes back to that spiritual backbone. Thou shalt decree a thing, right? When are we going to stop looking for the external world to show us proof that the things that we desire are coming? Right? People talk about breadcrumbs or birds before land or something like that, where you have this desire and all of a sudden you get little breadcrumbs. I don't look for synchronicities. I don't look for signs. The only sign I need is that I am changed. And that is enough confirmation for me that reality has to follow. That's it. Everything is a sign. That I'm breathing right now is a sign that everything is unfolding for me. That I just woke up this morning, everything is unfolding for me. That I took a step, whatever I feel. Me feeling sad is a representation that everything's working out for me. Me feeling happy, everything's working out for me. Me hungry, everything is working out for me. Me getting stuck in traffic, everything is working out for me. It doesn't matter. Everything is a sign. Everything is a synchronicity because I bless it as such. This is the power that you have. Decree it. Go through your life and look at everything as a divine blessing, a divine synchronicity. It's all a synchronicity. It is all a synchronicity because you declare it so. All right? So masculine/feminine integration. This is another thing. Once you start looking for synchronicities, You just start seeing them. So this should let you know how powerful you are. And then some people do get caught up when they're like, oh, well, I get all these synchronicities. It means that everything is unfolding. And so now they're constantly in this state of everything is unfolding and never in the state of you already have it. Right? You already have these things. Time is just trying to catch up because you are so powerful, right? Everything that you're living in is just, this is the past. These are thoughts of the past. This phone that you picked up, that you're looking at this on a computer or whatever, right? You wanted this phone sometime in the past. The breakfast that you ate, the lunch you're about to eat, you think about it, then you have. Everything is a byproduct of the past. The groceries in your refrigerator, byproduct of the past. The place that you live in, a byproduct of the past. Everything around, you live in a, Neville said it the best, you live in a dead world. Nothing in this life right now has any meaning anymore except for what you give it. But it's all just a product of what you wanted in the past. Right? And so if you can accept that, if you can start pointing your consciousness at the things you want to change and looking at these things as the perfect unfolding and walking in your power and decreeing everything as a sign, if the bill collector calls you, it should be a sign that you're about to get some more money. Because why the hell would God make this bill collector call me if he wasn't trying to give me some more damn money? Everything is a sign. It's what you give it. It's how you give it meaning. It is how you give it meaning. That's it. You make things blessings. You make things hold you back. You make things blessings. You make things hold you back based on your perspective. Your perception is your power. This is your magic wand. This is what paints reality. This is what changes your life, changes the world around you. The world has to follow your perception. It has to prove your perspective's right. Therefore, there is nothing to change but self. In the moment that you drop your nuts, the moment that you develop that backbone, and you literally start walking through life, and you start to work on your mind, this becomes the number one project in your life is your mind. Once this becomes the number one thing that you focus on, life will start exponentially changing. Say, how long do I have to work on this? As long as it takes. Okay? You've been programmed into worrying about worst case scenarios. You've been programmed into patterns. Most of us, from the moment that we were born, we've been programmed into a pattern. When you were a child, your parents taught you how to work, how to think, what made you a good kid or a bad kid. The school is the same. They tell you what makes you a good student, what makes you a bad student. This is how you have to work. This is how you have to think. And you go to the job, they tell you the same thing. Most people live in a loop. You do the same shit Monday through Friday. You do the same shit on the weekends. You might do the same shit, you just go to different places. You see the same people doing different things. You experience the same things over and over again. You're hungover the same day. You go to church on the same day. You go the same route to work every day, but you expect change, right? Start changing your mind. Start changing your mind. Start switching things up. You want to be around different people. Start putting yourself in different places. Start trying to focus your mind. Start making your project to break your mind out of patterns and habits. You know what? Instead of brushing my teeth before I kiss my wife this morning, I'm gonna kiss her and then brush my teeth. I'm just playing. But you need to start doing things that are different. Start taking a different route to work. Start waking up at a different time. Start changing up your workouts. I'm gonna work out in the morning or I'm gonna work out in the evening. Start doing different things. You're gonna meet different people. You know what I said. Drop them. Drop them cojones, man. Right? So your power is in your mind. It is in your perspective. Okay? So masculine and feminine integration. Why did I put this in here? All right, whatever. Masculine detachment is presence without pursuit. Feminine power is magnetism without manipulation. Okay, true union within or in relationships can only happen when both parties are whole and not hungry. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so when we talk about relationships, many of us have a limited perspective that we go out and we meet someone that is, like, for instance, if I'm a masculine-led man, I'm going to meet this feminine woman, and our energies are going to intertwine in a way that is going to create wholeness between us, divine union. Well, the truth is that you have feminine and masculine within you already. I don't care if you're a leading feminine woman or a leading masculine woman, a leading feminine man, leading masculine man. You have both energies within you already. You can develop wholeness within yourself before you actually step into a relationship, right? Masculine detachment. If you are masculine leading, where are you truly in your power? Presence without pursuit. We tend to think that as men, we have to be chasers. You don't. The power in men, a lot of times what you'll see is that stepping into your full power as a man requires you to step into the feminine more. And then for women, stepping into your true power as a woman requires you to step into your masculine more. Let me explain. All right. So as men, we tend to think that if we're going, always chasing, this is where our power is. We're always supposed to be chasing. We chase women. We chase jobs. We chase money. We chase everything. Chase the money, not these, you know what I'm saying? We tend to think that way, but it isn't until you surrender and you start not giving a damn, that is when you actually become more magnetic. Because if you're constantly chasing, even if you think about this in the terms of relationship, right? You're constantly chasing women, right? How do you even know that she really wants to be there? There has to be magnetism, right? And if I'm just a constant pursuer, and a lot of men, how we are also programmed. Let me slow down on this one because this is a good part. As men, how we are truly programmed is we are extremely focused on validation. We are extremely focused on validation. Women are as well, but in different ways. Let's explain this. Now, I already talked about how from the moment that we're children, we are taught to seek validation. Okay, so you're born into this world. Before you even truly have memories, your parents tell you this is how you have to act. This is what makes you a good kid, all these things. And then you might get to a point where you start wanting to dress yourself because you see your parent as the authority in your life, right? So you start dressing yourself and you go to your parent, you say, hey, Mom, I put this on myself. Does it look good? And Mom says, yeah, of course you look so handsome. Even though what you put on doesn't match, you got on your shirt backwards, you got your shoes on the wrong feet. But your parents know that your sense of self-worth is tied to their validation. So I'm being trained to seek validation from others. Fast forward. Now they drop your ass off in the school. So you go to school and they say, okay, this is what makes you a good reader. Oh my God, you did so good. Let me give you a sticker. Oh, you made a good grade. Don't do that. That's bad. Now, I'm seeking my validation from the school system. My grades make me worthy. Now I go to the corporate environment. What happens? Performance reviews. Kudos. This is your salary. This is your job title, right? We'll give you a promotion. This is your annual bonus, your annual raise of 0.13%. In 10 years, if it compounds, you'll have 1%, right? We are constantly just programmed to seek this external validation. And then what happens as men is we step into the relationship world and we're told, if you ask most people what their idea of a good man is, what are they going to name? They're going to list a whole bunch of shit that benefits them, right? Oh, he's a provider. He's a protector. He handles my emotions. He does all these things. He's a great leader. Hold up. So if I'm already programmed to believe me being a good man means I need to be doing all these things for others, I need to get my validation because that's how I was programmed from a child until now. Now I step into a relationship, and if I believe that my sense of self-worth, my validation comes from what I can provide, this is why you see men get caught in this loop where they start dealing with women who don't really care about them. And like I always say, we complain about women being illogical. Women are not illogical, but the most illogical person that you're ever going to meet is a woman that doesn't care about you. A woman that don't care about you will break the record for illogical things, right? Because she can't even respect you enough to be logical. Of course, she's going to say things like, I'm not your maid, I'm your wife. I'm not your maid, I'm your woman, right? You know this is illogical because you wouldn't say the same thing to her. You wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm not this. I'm not your bodyguard. I'm your man." No, because you care about her, you step into all these roles, right? So if we're constantly thinking that the only sense of purpose and validation is what we can actually provide for other people, well, we're going to be chasing around a whole bunch of women that don't like us, thinking that, oh, if she just sees how well I can provide, if she sees how much money I can pour into her, if she sees all these things I can do for her, now she will love me. And what's going to happen is you're going to step out into the real world and you're going to realize that people will use you. You've been taught that women are just these sweet beings that can do no wrong. Well, a woman that don't care about you, if she has a little bit of dog in you, will chew you up and spit you out. She will use you. She will get what she can out of you, and then she will leave you. And then you will sit here thinking, oh, all women ain't shit. No, my brother. No, my brother. I've been seeking this validation. So at what point do we as men sit down and say, you know what, I've been trying to, I loved her so much and she still didn't like me, or she still left me, or she still cheated, she did all these things. At what point do we realize, whoa, it doesn't matter how much I do for the wrong person. It's not a problem with an entire group of women. I'm the common denominator, right? And so this is why we have to understand presence without pursuit. And this is a metaphor for your life as a whole. You want to penetrate the world the same way you penetrate your woman, right? You give her the best of you with presence, right? But you're not constantly in chase mode. If I'm in chase mode, I can't lead. If I'm constantly chasing a woman around, if she's happy, I'm happy. I might be getting some booty tonight, you know what I'm saying? If she's upset, then I'm trying to go out of my way to make her feel happy. I am submitting to her emotions. I can't even lead the relationship, right? And so energetically, we see that is off. Now let's look at this in life. If I'm constantly chasing my desires, I can't attract them, right? I have to understand that this is mine. The divine counterpart is yours. The prosperity you want is yours. You do your work. There's always something to do, but there's nothing that you have to do. You have to allow your presence to do the work. I step in presence, I step in righteousness, I continue to move to what I want. But I also detach from how it unfolds, because it might not be this woman that you meet that is your divine counterpart. So you don't have to chase and pour all your resources into her just for her to reject you. Just like it's not going to be this business might not be the one that gives you prosperity. This business might fail. But in that process, you meet somebody and y'all start something else and that fails, but you learn a new skill. Then you get some new clients and you branch off and do your own thing in a whole different sector, and boom, your prosperity takes off. This woman might not even be meant to be in your life as a wife in a romantic sense. She might just be a business partner. Matter of fact, she might be a business partner. She might be helping you, and it's a home girl that's really for you. It's her home girl that's really for you. So we have to understand that the moment that we show up with presence, I'm going to show up in presence in my masculinity. I'm going to show up in love. I'm also not going to chase you around. I need to see mutual benefit. There needs to be magnetism. All right. So if there is magnetism there, because I'm stepping up as myself, I'm showing up as myself, and she wants to be here, well, now I pour more into her. But I'm not going in and chasing someone down thinking that my credentials, my money, whatever, right, makes me a good man, right? Being a good man, being a good leader, these are relative things. These are subjective things. I can believe that I'm a great man. A woman can look at me and say, no, not my type. Does that make me less of a great man? It's just not her type, right? It's relative. It is absolutely relative, right? The metaphor is the painting metaphor. If I have a painting worth $100,000 and I take it to the wrong place, they're going to look at it and say, I wouldn't pay nothing for that. Hell no, not $100K for that. Does that make it any less valuable? Of course not. It's still worth the same. It's just not for you. My self-worth doesn't change, right? Somebody might not see me as valuable, but that does not change my self-worth, okay? Does not change my self-worth. So now we talk about the feminine, all right? Feminine power is magnetism without manipulation, okay? Magnetism without manipulation. All right, so true union within or in relationships can only happen when both parties are whole, not hungry. Can you relax enough, right, in your feminine energy? Can you relax enough not to use your feminine energy to try to manipulate situations to keep them from unfolding as divinely as they should? There are some times where a man might show up in your life and you've been thinking, I just want to manifest this trip to Bali. And here comes Duck. Here comes Duck number one. Right? He shows up looking like a duck, quacking like a duck, with money ready to spend it on you. Right? And in your mind, you're like, man, well, this isn't really the righteous path. But Bali is Bali. A win is a win. You feel me? Are you going to walk the righteous path? Are you going to have your magnetism and know that I'm going to attract a whole lot of things, but I only have to accept what is actually meant for me? Or do you manipulate the situation and do you hide behind the guise of, well, I mean, he showed up and he had it to spend. I ain't make him spend it. But you knew that he was a duck. You knew that he was a duck. You knew you didn't want anything for real with him. So surely there's a better way for you to get to Bali. Maybe it's attached to a man that you actually care about, a man that you actually want to build something with, right? So magnetism without manipulation. Because one of the superpowers of feminine energy makes men do some strange things. Makes men do very strange things. If you think of most of the world is feminine energy. Money is feminine energy. It's free flowing, right? All of this is feminine energy. Cars, high rises, all these things are feminine energy. You see how men act for feminine energy. Men turn into idiots. Right? You can manipulate the hell out of a man, right? But is that the righteous path? Is that really in alignment with how you want to get things? So we both, men and women, have to be able to say our desire is sacred. We take a step back. The challenge for men is not trying to manipulate the situation with our power by pushing too much on it and relax into the divine unfolding, blessing everything is perfect, rejection is perfect, everything is perfect. And for women, not trying to manipulate the situation with your femininity, right? Both of them take strength. Both of them take strength, okay? But affirmation, I release what no longer serves. I detach from what is not mine. I lead with peace and not pressure. Okay, lead with peace and not pressure. Hey, have fun at the grocery store, man. Have fun. I appreciate you for joining. So, in closing, okay, the sacred art of letting go. In closing, letting go is not losing. It is choosing. Choosing yourself, choosing your peace, choosing your power. Okay, you don't need to give a fuck about how others perceive your freedom because freedom is not a performance. Okay, in the end, you will realize that the less you needed, the more you had. The peace was never found in possession, but in presence. Peace was never found in possession, but in presence. Okay, you can show up in life as the most divine version of yourself. Right, and you will be amazed at how the world will begin to unfold beautifully around you. How life will tend to give you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. And one of the best ways to really start practicing your magnetism and start practicing your presence is start surrendering in little things. Matter of fact, let's just cut through the bullshit. One of the more important and powerful practices that you can do is a meditation without purpose. Okay? Meaning, you're going to set your timer for 1 hour, 30 minutes to an hour. I highly advise an hour because typically the benefits come after about 30 minutes. You set your timer for an hour and you sit down, not with the intention to get anything, not with the intention to manifest something, not with the intention of doing anything, because your soul, your higher self, the God within you already knows exactly what you want and exactly what you need in this moment because it is you. Okay, you don't need to manipulate. You sit down and you completely let your body do what it does. If your mind is wandering, that's cool. Just bring it back. And just constantly just bring it back into just the darkness behind your eyes. And you do that over and over again and see if you can get to an hour. And what you'll realize is that probably around 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe even faster, depending on how you are tapped in, your mind will tend to go blank. You'll get more and more relaxed. And then you'll start getting answers to things you've been stressing about. The answer that you need the most will just pop into your head. All of a sudden, you'll feel more relaxed. Okay? And then what this actually will teach you, if you start doing it over a while, if you start doing this daily, is that you're going to receive whatever you want right when you need it. And so there's nothing to stress about. You start to understand the intelligence of your soul, the intelligence of your higher self, the intelligence of you. And you stop trying to think. You stop thinking of your higher self as something separate than you, and you just think of it as you. You are your higher self. You are your soul. You are the divine. These things are you. They're not separate. Okay? And so the same trust that you have when you sit in that meditation with no intention and you just surrender to the moment. I surrender. For this hour, I surrender. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to surrender to this meditation. This is the same way that you surrender in life. I do what I need to do based on what presents itself to me next. And I walk through life in my divinity. Right? And I understand that everything is going to present itself to me when I need it to be presented. This builds trust. And now you can truly start to look at your desires as sacred. Your desire is holy. Your desire is the promised land. Right? And now you're just going through life and you understand that everything that shows up is exactly what you need right now. It's what you need to give you more clarity. Right? Because sometimes the bad things, quote unquote bad things, just give you a little bit more clarity on where you need to go, what you want to experience. Right? And now when you start to walk in this divinity, things tend to unfold for you. Right? You start to get stronger, better, colder at blessing everything is perfect. The situation don't look ideal, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be perfect. Right? The God within me is perfect. The situation is always perfect because I am God, because God is within me, because you are God. Right? And other people can argue for limitations. People can come into your life and tell you, oh, that's not going to work out. This is not going to work out. But who are they to tell you? Who are they to tell you what will and will not work for you? You are the author of your life. They are the author of theirs. You begin to take your power back from everyone. I can hear, I'll listen to you speak about your limitations. No problem. But I'm not taking on that limitation. It doesn't even matter if it makes me feel a certain way. I know that my knowing is that this is your belief. Your belief makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but it has no impact on my life. No one can manifest anything for you. I think that's also one of these misconceptions that we have, is thinking that if somebody in my life thinks this way about me, they can manifest it for me. No, they can't. No one can manifest it for you unless you believe that they can, unless you give them your power to start manifesting for you. Well, then now they have the power, right? But you are the all-powerful being in your reality. You have no limitation except for the limitation that you give to yourself because you are divine, right? If you want to argue for your limitations, they exist. If you don't, right? If you release your limitations, then they're released. If you believe that you are powerful, you are powerful. If you believe that you are not, then you are not. Okay? Your faith is who you are. Your faith is absolutely who you are, man. All right. So I want to end it with that right there. If y'all have any questions, let's talk about questions for a little bit. But of course, all of these lectures are always on YouTube. The document is always on YouTube. The YouTube link is in the bio of whatever social media you're on. You can go to YouTube, you can download the link, you can look at all the other lectures, right? But we try to do this as often as possible, man. So, what else y'all want to talk about? We can talk about whatever. We can talk about relationships, we can talk about spirituality, masculinity, femininity. We can talk about whatever. If not, sure, we'll end it with a quick prayer and then some affirmations for y'all, and we'll wrap it up. Yeah, the way I'm feeling, it might just be a prayer and affirmations and go on and dip. Because it's a beautiful day. It's a motorcycle day, man. It's a good day to just go for a ride, man. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna end this one with prayer, with some affirmations, and I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all for joining. I'm glad y'all getting stuff out of this, for sure. Let's end this with affirmations, with a quick prayer. Then I'm gonna give y'all the divine affirmations, and then I'm gonna get on my bike. All right. My younger dogs, for sure. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for every situation and every person that you have placed in our life to lead us on the divine path back to you. We understand that every opportunity disguised as an obstacle, every argument is just leading us on a path to greater enlightenment. It's leading us on a path of expansion that leads us back to you. Right? Continue to walk with us moment by moment and remind us that the peace, that the love, that the intimacy that we are looking for in the external world is always within us. Okay? I pray for anyone that's going through pain, that's going through heartbreak, going through the loss, experiencing any kind of suffering, that you show them the peace, that you provide them the peace that only you can provide, but also remind them that the God that they are searching for outside of them, the peace they're looking for, the love that they're looking for is always within them and ready to be responded to. All right? Especially pray for anyone who needs to be awakened, that we can continue to give them the grace to awaken on their own timing, on their own path, and continue to allow us to lean into you for everything that we need. All right, y'all. I see you all as beautiful. I see you all as divine. I see you all as perfect, as wealthy, as worthy, as in alignment with everything that you desire. Okay, I see you as gods, as goddesses, as in full control of your life. All right? It's nothing less. If you do not feel that way, it is cool, because I see you all as that way anyway. So I know that it must be true. Okay, everything is working out for you. Everything is working out perfectly. Everything is for you. Absolutely no exception. Doesn't matter what you feel like. It doesn't matter if you are happy. It doesn't matter if you are sad. It doesn't matter if your circumstances look unbeatable or if they look perfect. Everything is for you. Everything is unfolding perfectly and divinely for you, leading you to the promised land of your desires. Your desires are sacred. Your desires are holy. Your desire is a covenant between you, your higher self, God, your soul, all the above. All right? So continue to walk with faith, and everything will work out. Everything will work out. All right, I appreciate you all. Thank y'all for joining. And until next time, all right, peace. How did I